quick update and then take your questions. Okay, good evening, everybody. We just finished several hours of meeting with a three committee group of owners: the LA committee, the stadium committee, and the finance committee. We had approximately 14 or 15 of the owners representing those three committees in attendance. We had three presentations from each of St. Louis, San Diego, and Oakland leadership. The presentations were thorough on the stage of planning that each of the respective cities are in. There was a robust time period for questions, and the committee members that were there asked questions of each of the cities, of the leadership of each of the cities. The owners representing the incumbent cities, so in each case, ownership from St. Louis, from San Diego, and from Raiders were present when their city leadership presented. The projects, as you know, are in different stages, and each of the cities presented a very enthusiastic picture of what the opportunity is. And I'll stop there and take your question.
Eric, did Oakland improve its position since this was the first time it presented before the ownership?
Zenny, I think it's not possible to tell that, and certainly, as I've said consistently, I wouldn't ever try to grade any of the three cities against one another. I think you can only measure a city's progress against itself, so to speak. And from the standpoint of the mayor exhibiting the leadership and the passion to place the Raiders at the center of a conversation and a negotiation, she certainly evidenced that and made that very clear.
Woody Johnson indicated that there might not be enough time with everything that still needs to get done for a vote in January, that it could conceivably be pushed to March. Do you get any sense that that could be the case, or is January still a realistic target date?
Well, January is still a realistic target date from the standpoint of the league finishing the work that the league needs to do in order for the ownership to be presented with the opportunity to consider it. But we've never put January in stone, and so I think what Mr. Johnson said is not inconsistent with where we've been for the past several months, which is we've said if they're ready to take up the discussion in January, we will have enabled that by the work that's been done. If it's not January, it could be February. If it's not February, it could be March. So certainly any time in that period, they could decide to take it up.
Could it be, is March the latest to have a team for 2016?
Ian, I think that it's not the latest from the standpoint of is it physically possible to approve a relocation later than March, but from the standpoint of doing right by the new market, Los Angeles, and also attempting to do right by the market that a club may be leaving, and asking fans to buy the tickets and asking businesses to provide sponsorships and things of that nature, it gets much more difficult to accomplish in a way that would make the NFL proud if it's done too much later than March. But if you said March versus April, it's hard for me to quibble there.
Eric, David, do you expect this to be the last time that St. Louis will present?
I think this is probably the last time that St. Louis would present in this format, but the St. Louis proposal is still a proposal that has a number of key terms that have to be defined and negotiated, and the various public bodies that have the authorities to commit the funds underlying the public commitment are not finished with their work. So it would not surprise me that we would have additional sessions with St. Louis that would include one or more owners representing one or more committees.
Following up with that, what's left on the table for St. Louis? You mentioned a number of key things not quite done. What are those?
I don't want to get into the specific terms in a way that would make it seem like we're having the negotiation in public, but they provided us with a term sheet. We responded to that term sheet in writing. We're not at the place with respect to the St. Louis proposal that I would be confident that it would draw the support of the membership. And that's the goal line, to be something that the membership is supportive of.
San Diego is facing a bit of a timing issue with a vote in June and perhaps litigation tied up to their environmental report. Did they give any indication whether they would move forward with that in spite of a vote by you guys in January or prior to whatever vote they may have?
We didn't get into that detail with Mayor Faulkner and his team in regard of if we approved a team, would they still keep going? That's, first of all, very hypothetical, and second of all, the owners who were leading the questions. It was not the NFL staff asking the questions, it was the owners. They did not ask the mayor that question. They asked the mayor and the staff about the risk of staying on schedule and obtaining the final result with respect to the EIR and finishing that in the time frame that the mayor believes is possible. But it was not, there was no hypothetical that of the nature you described.
From your sense, did they indicate a confidence level in being able to get all of that approved in June, or within their timeline, that they can get this over the goal line?
Vincent, the mayor expressed a high degree of confidence that the plan that they are developing would be completed by the end of next calendar year, and that includes the finalization of any risks related to the EIR. But I think there's a key milestone that would occur well before the end of the year, and that would be the referendum that they plan.
Eric, in that flavor, without putting you in a position where it sounds like a negotiation, did Oakland give you a sense of what their next steps would be, what their next items that they were offered were going to be?
Yes, Zenny, the mayor gave a very clear indication that they would develop a specific plan, and that she would put the tools that are available to Oakland and the surrounding region on the table to try to get a deal done with the Raiders. And she was not specific as to what those tools were, other than to say that she was committed to placing the team at the center of the negotiations, to doing it on a timely basis, and that there were no impediments for her to be able to bring that discussion forward.
Can you share what the question was from the owner of the Raiders with respect to the mayor, since that kind of relationship was established?
I would defer to the mayor to get into any detail, any significant detail, but I can tell you that the nature of the questions that the owners asked her related to her commitment and related to her confidence. And an additional area that I don't mind sharing with you is that they asked her about the long-term prospects for the East Bay area. And with regard to that, I would say that the mayor could not have been more positive, more enthusiastic, and I'm not sure that it would be possible for anybody to have represented the East Bay better than she did.
The Chargers and Raiders announced a addition to their team, Bob Iger from Disney. In what way does that positively impact their proposal, and does it ease any of the concerns about being able to go into the Los Angeles market and tap into the various resources that are available for teams?
I think the announcement of Mr. Iger's participation says very strongly that an NFL return to the Los Angeles market is incredibly attractive. That a man of his stature, capability, and talent would be drawn to this really says something. As to whether or not it affects the merits of one proposal over another, I defer to ownership.
Eric, what can we expect over the next 3 weeks, or what are we looking at when we get to Dallas that really needs to be on the agenda for that meeting?
I believe the principal focus of the Dallas agenda as it relates to the LA discussion will be another owner-to-owner discussion about the merits or demerits of the various projects in the 3 incumbent cities, the state of those negotiations, the nature of the risk, and whether those cities can actually bring a full project forward and in what time frame. And I think that the owners will talk about the same issues that have been near and dear to the discussion of the past 6 months, which is to take the relocation guidelines in their entirety into effect in order to make a good decision that allows the league to thrive and allows each of these 3 clubs to thrive in whatever markets they end up in. That's the reason for the relocation guidelines. They're not so prescriptive that it pops out an answer. It just describes the nature of the things that owners may choose to take into consideration in trying to arrive at the best decision.
Can you envision a time where the league or fellow owners direct the owners to work something out on their own? I mean, could you envision that path being taken?
I think when you have the dynamic of 32 owners who may have competing ideas about the best way forward, but the common goal of making the NFL as strong as it can be for many years to come, that there will often be owner-to-owner discussions about how to get things done. And I can tell you this, it's not going to be staff-to-owner discussions, it's going to be owner-to-owner.
I'm curious, at the Oakland Town Hall, there was discussion of a kind of fan buy-in or investment. Did that come up in the conversation between the mayor of Oakland and the ownership?
No, Zenny, it didn't. What came through in Oakland came through in San Diego and came through in St. Louis, which is the passion of the fans and for the team and for the NFL and the love they have for their teams. What came through is the anguish over the possibility that a team could leave. The specifics on that, with respect to your question, that is a tool. It may or may not be something that is new and different, but having thought about it some more, I think it is in the PSL family, and that is a tool that's available to any of the cities, but no, it didn't come up.
Is there any particular progress you wanted to see today? I guess what role did today play in the process?
This was an important day because the passion of the cities, as evidenced by the fans, came through in the hearings last week, or 2 weeks ago. And a number of the owners had seen either clips of that or reports of that, but we're going to make sure that all of the owners are briefed on it. The fans spoke a couple weeks ago in a very powerful way. This was the opportunity for the city leadership to speak with the passion and commitment that they have directly to the owners, not through the staff, not through the media, directly to the owners. And I would submit, it'd be great to have them in front of a league meeting, but a league meeting has more than 32 owners. And it is a different dynamic than 15 owners in a room with a governor or a mayor and a tight, focused team that's trying to get something done. That's a dynamic that's very important to them, very important to us, and it's unfiltered, and that's what we hoped would occur today, and that's what did occur today.
Jerry Richardson came out today and said that he supports Carson. That's who he's basically going to vote for. In the discussions, I'm not asking you to say which way one is leaning or anything like that, but is more discussion like that starting to come out where owners are starting to indicate which way they may be leaning?
I think that different owners have different, their own styles of how they express themselves and when they express themselves. I think the common theme is, while some owners have made up their minds, it is not without regard to the issues that all of the clubs, or all of these 3 clubs, all of these 3 cities are facing.